care, lead, innovate, motivate, balance. These 5 tenets reveal ways of creating a more profitable and customer-centric pharmacy. What will you discover when you climb with RMS?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Climb. With me today is Kevin Arnold, the owner of Village Discount Drugs, with 3 pharmacy locations in Alabama. And along with Kevin this morning is Brittney Langdon, who is the clinical coordinator for immunization services at Village Discount Drugs. Thank you both for joining us today.
Excellent. Thank you.
So let's just jump into it. You run an immunization program, and we want to talk a little bit more about that. So first question, I guess, is how long have you been doing this?
Oh, that's a good question. We've been in business at our primary location for 23 years, and it's been, I hate to say it's been so long, I don't remember, but I think we've probably been doing immunization clinics on a small scale for probably 15 years, 10 to 15 years.
Okay, and are you at all 3 pharmacies then?
Correct. Not as much as the others, but we do at this primary pharmacy, we do most of the immunization clinics out of this one.
So I guess, the question, what was the driver or what are the primary drivers behind doing this?
Well, it was an underserved area. It was great to get Village Drugs and our name from a marketing standpoint out into some of the larger businesses and have face-to-face communication with the individual employees of these corporations and businesses and that type thing. And getting our name out there, meeting them, getting people vaccinated, helping the community in that particular regard.
And I'm sure that came with some additional revenue. Yeah, one of the things that I've heard others talk about a little bit too, and this I think really happened with COVID for those that weren't doing any kind of shots. Suddenly, did it drive additional business to you that you just weren't getting with scripts?
Yeah, I think it has. I know I go out and do a lot of the flu clinics now, and I know we've gained several new customers from me going. They tell me that they've switched to us, and I think it definitely has built the business just by going out in the community.
Yeah, especially the COVID vaccinations. Not a lot of pharmacies, there was a lot, but not all, were doing vaccinations or had an easy to operate system where, they could easily make appointments, get in and out and that type of stuff. So we did have a lot of growth during COVID because people were seeking out our pharmacy for COVID vaccinations that normally would not have, used our particular location.
So have you been able then to keep at least some of those customers, I take it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. We try to, from a customer service standpoint, it's like you go to a particular restaurant and you have excellent customer service and the meal was good and everybody was friendly and it was an awesome experience. You're likely to dine there again. We kind of try to treat that as we have any new patient that walks in. We give them a level 10 experience and they kind of say, this is a little different than where I might be going, to a large chain box, I'm a number, not a name, type experience. And, once we've hopefully wowed them a little bit, with coming in and getting because having a vaccination's an intimate encounter, and that face-to-face, that kind of thing. So doing a good job and handling the patient and taking care of their health and knowing that you care about their family, lots of times was good marketing, with Brittney handling that to get that patient, John Doe and their family to, consider coming back and using us full time.
Sure. So yeah, that's I think with any, it's about experience, right? It's about the experience, that initial experience that the customer, in this case, the patient receives. And then do you do follow up with them as well?
Go ahead.
We always, with our new customers, send out new customer letters after they've came for the first time. So anyone that had never been here before and had a vaccine, they would have received one of those letters as well.
get a letter, welcoming letter, like Brittney said. It has a bounce back coupon that they can use. We have an automated phone call that says, "Hey, thanks for coming by our store," that type of thing. So those are the two follow up things that we do.
Yeah, terrific. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So let's move on just a little bit. We were initially talking about just in general immunizations and mentioned the flu shot clinic. But you mentioned already that you did COVID vaccinations. Do you do other vaccinations as well?
We do. I mean, we've done yellow fever before. We've done what other things?
MMR, tetanus. We do a lot of shingles vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
We've done others if somebody asks, and if we can order it and get it here, we try to be very accommodating. And
if we could order it,
sure,
and it doesn't come in a 100-dose vial, we'll take care of it. And we do a lot of travel vaccines. We do a lot of people that are going on mission trips, spread the faith. We will try to help those faith-based organizations make it easier for their team to go by getting whatever kind of vaccinations are required for that particular country. Or, someone's going to the Caribbean, or they're going to, some hot spot across the globe, and need a particular vaccine for that area. We'll try to accommodate that also.
Okay. So let's delve a little bit into the preparing for the flu shot clinics, and because you mentioned those up front, how many flu shot clinics do you do, and how tell us a little bit more about that program.
So we probably do about 4 or 5 a year. That's pretty standard, but starting in July-ish, we'll send out letters to businesses. We reached out to the chamber to get a list of some businesses and send them letters asking them basically, are you interested in doing a flu clinic? We've got some traction off that. And then about August, 1st of September, I'll call and start setting them up.
We reached out to the chamber originally to see who the larger employers are in our area. So we might reach out to a processing plant that has 800 employees, and that kind of thing.
Sure.
So we start there, versus doing the insurance office that has, 8 employees. So we're trying to do some of the larger organizations first. We've also done social media campaigns, like for us to come to your place of business and give do a flu clinic. Obviously, we're revamping and kind of that their doors were closed and that kind of stuff. So this will be the first full year that we're kind of back at full capacity doing clinics.
Gotcha. So is this model something you created? Did you get this? Are there resources out there that suggest this type of business model? Or are there templates out there for people that wanted to get started with doing something like this?
I'm sure there are. I don't think it is a 12-step program type thing. It's not super complicated. I think you need to have a plan. First, start with the marketing during the off season, during the summertime, reaching out to businesses, telling them what, how you can, what you can do, why it's, advantageous for the employer. We do, our letter contains some statistics about people missing work because of sickness and the flu. Also, it's forward thinking for a business owner to, care about their employees and then for them to be healthy. So we kind of try to give a lot of pros as to why a business would want us to come, and give some very rough 1,000-foot view type. This is what the clinic would look like. So I think that would be one, is doing your marketing, reaching out, and then just fielding phone calls as to people that return that are interested. And secondly, assign a point person that is going to be in charge of the boots on the ground going out to particular businesses like Brittney does. And what does she need? She has a she has a kit and a bag, almost like a doctor's bag with everything that she needs. What does that look like? Checklist of all the items you would need to give the shots, do the paperwork, record insurance data, all that kind of thing. And, then the coordination of scheduling. I don't know. What am I missing, Brittney?
I think that's it.
And try to schedule too. I know this may be a follow-up question, but trying to schedule too on, we don't do Mondays. We try to do days where, our staffing is, so when Brittney's gone or if she takes one of our technicians with her, it doesn't leave the pharmacy compromised with low staffing, and that kind of thing.
Sure.
We try to organize when we do schedule, on days that we do have ample staff here at the pharmacy.
Do you ever, any pushback from employers? What would it be if they've given any pushback or any comments when they don't do it?
Pushback would be they already have somebody that comes and does clinics. And so then I try to follow that up with, well, what could we do that they don't do? Or what could we do different to make you want to use us? So, once somebody has a routine, it's hard to break it, but asking that question gets them thinking.
Yeah,
sure.
And then just the pushback of just a non-response. You send a letter out, you make a phone call, and nobody responds back. But I think, once Brittney is on site, we haven't had any pushback in that people didn't like what we were doing, or it wasn't done in a fashion that they approved. I don't think we've had anything like that, and that's just communication too. If we want you to set up here versus there, we want you here for these times versus those times. Just communicating with the business and the employer to massage any concerns or problems they have.
Now, let me ask a question. When you started, doing vaccinations, did you start with this kind of a program where you went out to businesses, or did you kind of just start doing vaccinations and, telling your patients you're doing vaccinations? Which came first?
I would say we were doing them in store first. Just having walk-ins into the pharmacy, and that is another marketing channel. Is we do have some clinics that we do because they are our patients. They're like, hey, would you like to come to our work and do our existing patients reach out to us to ask us about doing those particular things, and this is kind of a gateway thing of doing vaccinations at a particular business. And then Brittney's doing healthcare visits now. That's a new thing that we kind of started in the last year or two of wellness visits. So if you're already providing some level of clinical services for a particular business, it opens the door to do other things. COVID vaccinations were fairly profitable. If we were already doing flu clinics, it was easier to do the COVID vaccinations, and then it becomes easier to do the wellness checks, and that kind of stuff. And your name begins to be synonymous with, you're not just put a label and send their blood pressure medicine out the door. You are doing some clinical things or some outside the box things to generate revenue and to be a part of that clinical team that takes care of their healthcare needs. Sure.
So filling the needs of the community, and then also adding patients, right?
Exactly.
And the reason I asked that question is because I think that there are a lot of pharmacies out there that start a vaccination program but never take that next step to going out to the business world and saying, hey, can we come and do these clinics? But I thought it was also interesting that you commented that you had patients coming to you and saying, hey, could you come to my place of business and do that? And it's not something I had thought of. So kind of a win-win here, no matter which direction you go. But eventually, it seems to me the logical progression would be to go to businesses.
Right,
so.
Right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your existing patients then. So, you do these clinics, but you have all these existing patients. So tell us how you reach out and communicate with your existing patients.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as like when we have flu shots in stock, to let them know. Is that
sure? Flu shots, any vaccinations really. Do you actively recommend them during patient consults?
So during flu season, we do try to ask everybody if they would like a flu shot. I think we usually do Facebook videos when they come in.
Right. We'll do a marketing video that, hey, it's time to get your flu shot. This is why it's safe. You can't catch the flu from the vaccine. Just a quick little public health announcement type thing video. We do a robocall or a call blast, whatever you want to call it, that calls each home and says, hey, we have flu shots in stock now. It's time to get your flu shot. Just a little marketing blurb there. So yeah, I think there's three things there: the phone call, the Facebook marketing, and then like Brittney was talking about, the face-to-face at the counter at the transaction when the patient's actually in the store where they can say, yes, let's do this right now. And we've played games with our staff that we have a goal that we want to do 20 vaccinations today. And if we get 20 vaccinations, then we buy lunch the next day, or we have a bingo game or something of that nature, just to incentivize the staff to initiate that conversation of, hey, would you like to get a flu shot today?
Okay. Now, do you pushback? Do you get pushback from, what do you deal with? Because there are patients that absolutely don't want vaccinations. So is there a way for you to track that in any of your systems? Do you use technology for that, or?
We don't. I think, it's a customer service world. There's going to be people that are rude at times for particular things, but I can't remember a single instance where, people just simply say no. Would you like dessert after your meal? No, thank you. So it's the same thing with would you like a flu shot today? No, thank you. I'm good. And that's the end of the conversation. I mean, we're not pushy.
So do you use any technology to track this, and what's that technology?
To track the number of vaccinations we have administered?
Correct, yes.
So we, fill a vaccine like do a prescription, so we can go back and look at the numbers that we've filled. We just
Yeah, so exactly like Brittney said. So each vaccination is a prescription. So just like we could track how much of a particular blood pressure medicine we are selling, we can go into the drug field and pull up how many flu vaccinations that we've given that particular year.
How about scheduling systems? Do you use any kind of?
We used the scheduling system when we first started doing COVID vaccines because the demand was so high. But once that kind of settled, we're just strictly walk in.
Okay. And that brings me to the next question. Do you have special hours for vaccines, extended hours, or anything like that? Just normal business hours?
Normal business hours, yep.
Okay. And we've already talked about community events, doing your clinics. So when COVID, now, do you combine efforts with flu shots and COVID boosters, or need to discuss that at the same time?
So if a patient tell them absolutely, we'll take care of you, both of them. We usually don't initiate asking them if they want both, just because we don't know when their last COVID vaccine was, if they're even due for a booster. But if they ask us and they're in the time frame, absolutely, we take care of them.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Now, look, for COVID boosters, do you if you've done the COVID shot with them, do you send out anything to them and remind them that the booster's available, or do you do anything with that?
Not particularly. Most people, if they're wanting a booster, they're on top of it with the news. Sure. And so they just calling us, hey, do you have the newest booster? Can I come get the newest booster? So, but we don't remind anybody.
Yeah, they're, like Brittney said, the patients are very motivated, and we do tell them, any vaccination, whether it's shingles or whatever, if there is a second vaccination that is due, we do on some of the others, we do reach out to them if it's there's a 3-part vaccination, we will put a refill reminder in our queue, and then it pops up in 2 months, and we'll call Miss Smith and say, hey, it's time to get this, and then, that kind of stuff. But we try to do a very good job of communicating when they leave after the first vaccination. But yes, there is a way to set up a refill reminder in our system where it pops up, 60 days from the first vaccination when they're due, and we can reach out to the patient.
Very good. So I guess, just overall, as you've been doing this for a lot of years now, what does success look like to you? When you're thinking about each year, when you think about this, is this going to be a good year? How are we going to do this? How are you defining success? This is probably more for you, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, we do look at, what did the past success look like? And, are we doing all the little things to make that number as high as it possibly can? Just like we say, we want to lose 20 pounds. So we can't just say we want to have more flu shots next year. Just like we say, hey, I want to lose weight. What are you doing? Are you going to the gym? Are you cutting back carbs? Are you, what lifestyle changes are you making? And if you do those level 10, you're going to lose weight. So just like with our flu vaccines, we want to, did we do an adequate job of Facebook marketing when when vaccines became available early fall? Did we do a good job in the summer of reaching out to all the businesses that we possibly could, sending them a letter, making contact with them as far as, letting them know that we can do a clinic? And then what did we do as far as what's our staff? Did we properly motivate our staff to ask at the point of sale, at the register? Or did we let life get in the way and we didn't send a letter out, and we didn't remind the staff to ask at the register, or we didn't redo that social media video, that kind of stuff. So as long as we do those underlying things like cutting carbs and going to the gym, as long as we sent the letters out, did the social media post, ask everybody at the register, I don't get super concerned about what that number is, because I know we did level 10 everything we could to make that number as high as possible. And typically it will grow. And of course there's things like, COVID that comes along, and nobody left their homes, and we didn't do hardly any flu shots that year. So I'm not going to get mad that year that we bottomed out on our number, because we did all the little things right in order to hit it.
Sure. So any last minute tips for people? Anything that you want to say that we haven't discussed as we wrap up here?
I just say two things, have a plan like we talked about, and get it started. I guess that's the hardest thing of any sort of task, is to get started. So have a plan. What's that first step? Which I would think would be the marketing. And then secondly, have a point person or a champion like Brittney to go out and execute, on the, once we've done that, she handles all the phone calls and the scheduling, and she, all that falls under her umbrella, and then she goes out and actually, does the clinics. So, those are the two things: get started, and then, execute the plan.
Very good. Brittney, any last comments from you?
I'll just say, be open to, if the business is interested and ask you to do something extra, try to go out of your way to get that extra thing done.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, while we're here, I just want to let you know that we can do X, Y, and Z also if you ever need us to. That kind of thing. Upsell it while you've already got a willing partner that's working with you to do some clinical things.
Yeah, great tip. Well, thank you both very much for being with us today. I really appreciate your insight, and I'm sure our pharmacies that watch this series will also really appreciate your insight. So thanks again. Excellent. And have a terrific day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
The RMS Climb Checkup is the roadmap to maintaining a healthy pharmacy business. Schedule your Climb Checkup with an RMS pharmacy expert today.